Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session. We'll begin the session sharp 11:30. We have a few more minutes left. We'll wait for a couple of minutes and we'll start the session. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session. Two more minutes, we'll begin the session. Audience can use the chat box to communicate to us in the control panel, which you can able to see from your side. Yeah, we can able to see a couple of messages. Hi, hello. Hi, Nitesh. Hi, Balakrishna. Hi. Hi, Akhilesh. Hi, Ravindranath. Good to see the responses. Good morning. Good morning, Ravi. Hi, Prem. Hi, Balvinder. Good morning, all of you. Good morning, Komal. Akshay, good morning. I'm good, Nitesh. Yeah, there is a question from Balakrishna. Yes, you will get the recorded session automatically. You'll get it. Every session you participate, you will get the recordings as well. Thanks for the question. Hi, Karnit. I'm good. How are you? Thanks. Good morning, Patel. Good morning, Sanjana. Hi. So it's time now. Let's begin the session. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session. Hope you are staying safe with your families. I'm Sarana Kumar, part of India PT Academic team. I'll be moderating the session today. We as a team PT Academic are there with you to support in the difficult time, and we'll keep you updated through regular webinars. We are planning even in the future again. So in today's session, we are covering writing section, and we will have poll questions in between. We'll be able to address your questions, whatever you raise in the chat box. We'll address it. We'll try to address it as much as possible. We'll try to address it in between, and we have a separate Q&A session at the end. And let me introduce our trainer. Today's session will be led by one of our experienced master trainer, Lavanya Manoharan. She has a handful of experience. She has 17 plus years of experience in the field of training and teaching in this region. So she's a subject matter expert in the ELT space. She has trained many teachers and thousands of students, and continues to enrich more lives directly and vicariously. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I'll bring them up during the presentation, and we will also have time for questions at the end of the session. So before I hand over the session to Lavanya, I would like to play a small video. It's a quick 1-minute video. Please have a glance.
My sister. That's not my hand. That's not my sister. Not my parents. That's not where I learn English. That's not where I work hard. That's not where I dream of becoming a doctor. That's not the color of my skin. That's not my wallet. That's not my gender. That's not where I fell in love with science, with big, bold ideas. This isn't where I dreamed about living in Australia, in America, in the UK. Those are not my friends. That is not my bag. Today, I am none of those things. I am only what I want to be.
That was a quick video. Let's begin the session. Lavanya, over to you.
Thank you, Sharavanan. Thank you for the lovely video that we just saw. And a cool welcome to all of you, considering it's such a hot weather outside. And I hope you people are staying safe, practicing social distancing. We are going through some trying times right now, but Pearson has been, trying to keep your time as productive and fruitful as possible. And I hope the session is going to be rewarding for you. And it is really heartening to see so many participants. Welcome all of you once again. So yesterday you would have attended the training by John, and he had covered the speaking part of it. So if you, yesterday when you would have seen the PPT that John shared with you, speaking and writing comes as one chunk. Okay, so today we would be dealing with the speaking aspect, writing aspect of it. So without much ado, let us start with the writing. So are you all ready? You can put it in the chat box. You can put a thumbs up, whatever you are comfortable with. So shall we begin? Okay, people, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we are getting a lot of response from the audience that they are able to see you, view you. It's clear.
They're able to see as well. All right. Okay. So we would begin with writing today. So how many of you are actually, how many of you like writing and how many of you don't like writing? So whether you like it or not, writing is an important skill that we all need to have. As students, as teachers, as adults, as children, writing is a very important skill because writing gives a voice to your inner thoughts and it also allows you to share them. Now, writing is a skill that can be developed. So people who are not used to writing need to also understand that. I'm going to switch off my cam because network is slow. So sorry about that. I will catch up with you in a bit when things get okay with the network. So writing is a skill, like I was telling you, that can be developed. So you don't have to worry that, oh no, I am not a writer. You don't have to be a writer to write. Writing is a skill that can be developed easily. So I will get into that, more when I have time. But as of now, you need to know that a skilled writer need not necessarily have those convoluted sentences, arcane vocabulary, sophisticated language. Not really. If you have the ability to write meaningful sentences, meaningful lines or paragraphs which a reader can understand, then you are a great writer. So a simple language is actually enough to be understood by the reader, which means you are a skilled writer. Now, writing is relevant to us on day-to-day basis. It shows it increases your knowledge, your creativity, your imagination. In fact, writing is the most demanding skill today. It is an essential job skill. So writing can boost your personal confidence, your professional confidence, your academic confidence. So writing is something important even in your day-to-day life. Now let's get into how is writing relevant to PTE? It is one important part of your PTE test. So like with yesterday, when John did, he would have shared this with you. You have an introduction followed by speaking and writing. Now speaking and writing, you have 77 to 93 minutes. So he has covered the speaking part of it, and I would be taking you through the writing part of it. Now this is how, if you see in the previous slide, it is divided into 3 parts: part 1, part 2, and part 3. Now let's look at this. How is the whole section part 1 divided? Section 1 was personal introduction. Section 2 was all the questions that John covered yesterday. And today it's going to be section 3 to section 6, where you're going to have only 2 tasks. So the good thing about reading is, don't have to worry, only 2 tasks, and not difficult at all. And even if it is difficult, it is something that you can acquire very easily with practice. So I will be taking you today through some techniques, through some processes where you can make your writing far more easier than you actually think it is, right? So to make it easier, I'm not actually divided into 6 parts. I have just divided into 2 parts because after all, there are only 2 tasks. So I'm going to take it by section. Section 1, which is summarized written text, and then you have section 2, which is an essay. Summarized written text between as I am talking to you. If you have any queries, please put your queries on the chat box, and I will try to address it as and when I'm taking it. If not, most of it would be addressed in Q&A session. Should that not be possible, all your queries would be answered through email. So don't you worry, and don't fret or think about how will my query be answered if it is not answered now. So let's get back to this. So we're talking about 2 tasks of summarized written text and essay. Now these tasks can come in any combination. Either you can have 2 summarized written text and 1 essay, which would be 40 minutes. Each summarized text, written text is for 10 minutes. So if you look at this, give me a minute. I am not, this is something that is a perennial issue with me, with my laptop, that I'm not able to see I'm not able to use the tools. Okay, I will not waste my time here. I think I will just continue. I really wish I could use the pointer to show you all this, or use the pen. So you can have 2 summarized written text and 1 essay. Oh, here we go. Great. So 1 essay. Now this summarized text is 10 minutes and essays for 20 minutes. So if you have 2 summarized text and 1 essay, it would be for 40 minutes. 3 summarized text and 1 essay, 50 minutes. Or 2 summarized written text and 2 essays, 60 minutes. So it could be any of the combination. We cannot tell you which combination you will get. So whichever way, minimum 2 summarized text is going to be there for sure, and minimum 1 essay. So let's go and see, let's look at how many tasks and other paraphernalia are connected to summarized written text. The number of tasks is 2 or 3, minimum 2, maximum 3. The CLSS is reading and writing, so which means summarized written text is an integrated item, because it tests both your reading and writing. Why reading and writing? Because you have to read the text and then summarize it in the form of writing. What are the enabling skills tested? Grammar and vocabulary. What is the type of scoring? Partial credit. So which means for everything that you do right, you're going to get the scores. Everything you do wrong, you're going to get 0. So Each task for summarized written text comprises of 7 points, and I'll get into detail of how it is calculated up to 7. The prompt length is going to be up to 300 words, and you have to write it between 5 and 75. So all of you who have, you would have come across this in your school or in your college in your 11th and 12th in English. We had something called as PTE writing in school, where a big chunk of text was given to you, a passage, and you had to bring it down to 1/3, which was a difficult task, right? So this is similar to that, PTE writing, but much easier than what we did in school. So that's very heartening to know. And you have 10 minutes to answer. So which is again great. 10 minutes is actually a lot of time. So you have enough time, you can just do it easily. So this is what your summarized written text looks like. This is what you have here in italized and bold. This is called as the instruction. Very important to read that instruction. And this is the text that you have. You also have a chat box where you can type. You have handy word count, so you do not overshoot the number of words. You have rudimentary tools like cut, copy, and paste, which you can use it within the chat box. So pretty much everything that you want is there, people. So it is not difficult at all. So let us see how. Remember, I told you scoring is 7 points. How does it sum up to 7 points? So there are 4 parameters here. What are they? Content. So content is 2 points. What do you mean by content? Content is whatever is relevant in the text given to you. Have you covered all the aspects? Not difficult. Okay. Format. This whole thing has to be written in one sentence. Very, very important part of it. Because if your content is in place, grammar is in place, vocabulary is in place, but your format is not in place, you've written it in 2 sentences, you're going to get 0. So be extremely careful, only 1 sentence. So grammar, yes, grammatical structure in terms of if your passage is or your text is stopped in 1 tense, you continue to use that tense. Vocabulary, use appropriate choice of words. Not a good idea to steal, phrases from the passage. You can use your own words, but you make sure that you're using appropriate words. So all this sums up to your 7 points. Now I will take you through how do you actually do this. First of all, one thing you have to make sure is it is in the correct format. So what do you mean by format? We just did a while ago. What is format, people? What is that one thing you need to be extremely careful here in this item task? Sharvana, are we getting responses in the chat box?
No. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a question.
Yeah. We're getting it. We're getting it.
Single
sentence.
Very good. Very good. So the first thing, first, foremost, and the most important thing is that you have to make sure that it's correct format. That is, it is in the correct sentence. You must write only 1 sentence between 5 and 75 words, and it should begin with a capital letter or an uppercase, and it should end with a full stop. That's how you know it's a complete sentence, right? It might sound very silly to say, of course I know it is a capital and a full stop, but remember, if you don't put a full stop, you will be penalized. So these are the small tiny things that you need to extremely take care of. Now, how do you make such a long passage into 1 sentence? It's not going to be easy. That's what you think, but it is easy. What I want you people to ponder over and think is that it is not easy to write a sentence of 75 words in 1 sentence. It's complicated. It is difficult. So therefore, unless you are adept with this English language skill, I would rather say don't attempt such a long sentence. You should be able to make a complex sentence, maybe even a compound sentence using a and, linking words, and try to contract it anything between 30-35, not trying to say that 65 is wrong. What happens when you're writing a sentence for 65, 70, 72 words is the chances are that somewhere in between it's a run-on sentence, somewhere in between you have failed to connect, what the ideas that you're trying to do. So make it simple, and how you make it simple, I'm going to take you through that. So I remember we just did this. I just showed you this. I just quickly run you through this. Just in time is a method of manufacturing products which aims to minimize production time, production cost, and the amount of stock held in the factory. The raw materials and supplies arrive at the factory as they are required, and consequently, there is very little stock sitting idle at any one time. Each stage of the production process finishes just before the next stage is due to commence, and therefore, the lead time is significantly reduced. With the just-in-time production system, the level of production is related to the demand for the output, that is number of orders, rather than simply producing finished goods and waiting for orders. This means that the raw materials and stock only need to be ordered from suppliers as required. Now, this is a lot. What do you do then? You don't have to worry. Just mark what is happening in the sentence, who's saying what, or who's doing what, and what is the outcome. So before you even begin, just look at what we are talking. We are talking about just time, and it's a method of manufacturing products. And what is the aim of it? To minimize production time, production cost, amount of stock held. This is mainly, and then here he is giving you the entire process of what they do. It finishes. This is important, but if you're going to write it in one sentence, you need not add all the details. You just have to write the main idea of it. Main idea is this, and this means that raw materials and stocks need to be ordered. So when stocks need to be ordered as it is required, this is pretty much what, and this is a production system. This is pretty much I need to encapsulate. So when you are doing a summarized written text, just make sure that you are identifying the keywords, sewing all of those keywords into one sentence. So let us look at, so oops, where is the eraser? Yeah. So let's look at, so remember I just underlined those words. Look at the sentence. Just-in-time production synchronizes goods produced with demand, and many companies employ this method to control costs. Look at the number of words. Can anybody count and tell me how many words are there? Anybody in the chat box? How many words? Sharavana, any response?
50, 28, 18.
No, I'm talking about the second question, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That is it. And
yeah, we have most of them responded 18.
Yeah, so there are 18 words. And what is the requirement here? 5 to 75. So is the sentence correct? Is this acceptable sentence? Can you tell me yes or no? Is the sentence acceptable? 5 to 75, and this is only 18 words. Is it acceptable?
Yes.
Acceptable? Would you get a good score for this? Would you be penalized, and would the scores be reduced? Can anybody tell me based on what is the requirement of PTE for this particular task? Is it a good sentence? Is it a high scoring sentence?
Lavanya, we have received yes. We have received a question from, one second. Are hyphenated words counted as single word? From Anuksh Jadhav.
Not really. They are not words. They are just punctuations. So they are not counted. So, so what is the answer for is it a good sentence? Will it get you high score?
Yeah, most of them replied as yes, good. Yes, good.
It is good because everything that was mentioned here, this has been encapsulated into this. Does not mean that to get you a good score, you need to stick up to 74 words. It is they have given you the range 5 to 75. So if you've crossed 5, anything between this, so this is the beauty of this question type. So you don't have to worry too much. use a conjunction, you can make it a complex sentence using a clause, a relative clause, or you can use a conjunction and make two different sentences, and it's pretty much, you don't have to give a lot of details. So I'm going to take you through another set, just the way I did the previous one. I want you to quickly go through this and tell me what are the words that, it's a huge passage, it's a long passage, and there is going to be a paucity of time. So I want you to do this quickly and tell me which are the words that you think are important here, because it's a huge thing. United Nations Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change has released a new report on anthropogenic climate change. The findings are the following. So you have, oh, okay, let's go. Okay, so what are the things that you would look here, because there are so many things. So I'm going to take you to the next slide so it becomes easier. Yeah. So what are we talking about? We are talking about this climate change. So what have they said? Temperature has increased. That's it. Quickly go through it. What has happened? Best estimate for sea level rise due to ocean expansion. This gives you how sea level was risen. And sea ice projected to shrink. And then it goes and gives you more information about that. Snow cover has decreased. Again, a lot of information about that. It is very unlikely that precipitation will increase, and it is likely to decrease. And this pattern is similar to what they observed in the 19th century. So this is all that we need to know. So when you're going to put all of these words together into one sentence, it's not going to be difficult. So can we check that? Yeah, so whatever I've underlined, it is here in bold. So this is all that you have to do. So what did this United, so can you please try this on your own? If you were to put all of this that you had keywords into a sentence, and I will also show you, I will project that sentence where you can put all of this together. But something that I want you people to try on your own. I'll just give you like a few seconds. If you're quickly able to do that. It's about United Nations IPCC has come up with these findings, right? So I'll take you through this. This is an example of a C1 level answer. Look at this. The new UN report of climate change finds that increasing surface temperature around the world are causing rising sea levels, shrinking sea ice, snow-covered, I'm not able to see this, and changes in precipitation. How many words? Just 30 words. Why is this C1 level? Because when you look at the parameters, this pretty much covers everything. The topic has been accurately discussed, supporting points are included, vocabulary is precise, all the words spelled correctly, and the response is one complete sentence. Everything that is required for a summarized written text is there. So is it difficult, guys? It's not. Although in the beginning, when you look at the long chunk of text, can be intimidated. But if you just have to look at the keywords, put it all together into one sentence, revise it and see that have you made it into one sentence, starting with a capital, ending with a full stop, you know, everything that you want. Each paragraph that they said, we've encapsulated it in 2-3 words: rising sea levels, shrinking sea ice. So it is really not that difficult. So let me just take you through what are the do's and the don'ts of summarized written text. Let's look at the don'ts first. One important thing: do not write it more than one sentence. If every other parameter is at excellent level and you have not written this in one sentence, you will get a 0 for the whole task. So keep in your mind, it's just one single sentence. Do not have to include definitions, do not have to include any examples, you don't have to steal phrases from the text. You know, Just write it in one sentence, beginning with capital, ending with full stop. Do not write with all capital. If you write in all capital letters, it's not a sentence. Remember, a sentence begins with capital and ends with a full stop, and in between you can't be using, so that will not be taken as a sentence. Too much of figures and data, just like remember we did this UN question a while ago. We did not include any of the figures and data. And do not use too many punctuation. Too many punctuation can make a sentence look very ugly. You want a neat sentence. You want something that is slightly complex yet encapsulates everything. Compound is also a good sentence. Compound is when you add linking words. Complex is when you add clause, relative clauses to, explain further. So this, unfortunately, is not a grammar class. I would have gone more into it, but we will do that if you have any queries. Okay. So let's look at what are the do's. Start the sentence with a capital letter, end it with a full stop. One concise sentence which, pretty much encapsulates the central idea. So you don't, only that idea and supporting points is enough. Don't write anything more than that. Stick to keywords, use correct tense, use appropriate discourse markers, keep an eye on the timer, don't lose track of it. It's only 10 minutes. Spellings, grammars important, word limit very important. You could use that cut, copy, paste, tool that has been given to you. Ideally, use compound or complex sentences to make it to one. So it is really not that difficult. We have already done the do's. So any doubts now? If you have, please put it in the chat box. Otherwise, I'll take you through a poll question. Sharona, can you please project poll question?
We have a couple of questions. Yeah, before one second, we have a couple of questions, Lavanya. The question is that from Kumaraswamy, what level of grammar and vocabulary to be tested?
I can't quite hear you. You're coming broken, Sharona?
No, a question from Kumaraswamy. Yeah. What level, is it audible, Lavanya? No.
It's coming broken, Sharwana. If you could, I don't know if the
what level of,
problem is from
is it audible now?
Yeah, what? Yeah. What level?
What level of grammar and vocabulary to be tested? This question is from Kumaraswamy.
Okay. Hi, Kumaraswamy. Lovely question, because this must be the query of so many others. What level of grammar? Not high level of grammar. Your grammar is basically if you're using the correct tense and you're using it consistently. It's not like you've started with one tense and ended with another. So not a high level of grammar, because a lot of it is given in the text and all you have to do is just put it into one sentence. What level of vocabulary? Not a great level of vocabulary, because you're going to use the keywords from the text, and they are not testing your vocabulary. In fact, when you talk of vocabulary, what they're testing, they're using the appropriate words. So it is not like if you're going to use arcane vocabulary, you're going to get more points. If you've used the word appropriately, that's a good vocabulary. So it is not really a high level of vocabulary. It is a normal level, which we and you and I use. So I hope, Kumaraswamy, that has addressed that answer was convincing for you. If there's anything else, we will take it up at the end of the session. So can we please, can the poll question be projected, Sharwana?
Yeah.
So a quick question for you people. How many integrated tasks are there in writing section? 1, 2, or 3? Can you make it quick? Maybe 3-4 seconds. I want the answer on the chat sheet, chat box. How many integrated tasks do you have? 1, 2, or 3?
50% of the participants have already responded. 30 more seconds.
Maybe we could give a couple of seconds more.
%60% of the participants have responded.
As? What's the response?
Yeah. Once we cross 80%, we'll share the response.
Okay.
Few more seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 70% of the audience responded. They have responded to option 2. 64% of the respondents selected. Yeah, 2. Integrated
Options
tasks.
2. There are 2 integrated tasks. My heart just broke, people. We just had 2 items. One is summarized written text and one is essay. Essay, I had gone through this, the PPT. I'll take you back to that. Okay, so here you have summarized written text and essay. Only two tasks you have. Essay is all about writing. And how do you summarize a written text? By reading it. After you read, will you be able to summarize, right? So there are only 2 item types, and in that 2, one is integrated, which is summarized written text, because you're going to read and write. Okay, never mind. We all, we will take care in to ensure that you get it right. Okay, out of 2 questions, people, there is only 1. And why is response only 75%? I want all of you to participate, all of you. Okay, next question, Sharavana, go for it, people. I want all of you to participate. How many sentences can a student write in a summarized written text? 1 sentence, 2 sentences, more than 2 sentences? Quickly, guys, go for it. Come on. This is one of the important prerequisites of this summarized written text. Don't break my heart. Get it right.
Yeah, we have 20 more seconds.
Okay.
Okay, this time 72% of the participants have responded. They have responded to 1 sentence.
Yippee, great. So this is, yes, this is just 1 sentence. So which means we have another group of students who have said, what, 2 or 3?
Yeah, 10% of them said 2 sentences, 11% of them said more than 2 sentences.
Oh no, people. This, if you write 2 or more than 2, you will get a 0. The whole idea of summarized written text is to summarize it in 1 sentence only. Will you keep that in mind now? All those who thought it was 2 or 3? More than 2? Okay, good. So this is just 1 sentence. I'll quickly go through another question as well. Quick poll. So it's getting better from first question to second question, which is 75% of them get it, 79% of them getting right, and the third one we all should get it right, people. Can we project that, please?
Yeah.
What is the word limit in summarized written text? 50 to 70, 25 to 40, 5 to 75, or 30 to 50? Come on, this time we all get it right. We all must get it right. We've discussed that a lot, so there's no way you can go wrong.
20 more seconds.
Yeah. Think about it. Looking for 1 sentence. What is the word limitation? Or what is the range of words that you can use from what number to what number?
Yeah, 75% of the audience have responded. They have responded to 5 to 75.
Oh,
90% of them responded to 5 to 75 words.
Can I take a look at that? Oh, can you project that?
Yeah.
Okay, 90%. Brilliant, people. That is what I was also looking forward to. For people who thought 4%, 3%, and 3% of people, please correct yourselves. It's 5 to 75. Okay, you can't, not 50 to 70 for sure. 25 to 40. It's not that if you write between 25 to 40, it's wrong. The range given is 5 to 75. So people who also thought 30 to 50, not that if you're going to write between 30 to 50 is going to be wrong, because anyway the range is from 5 to 75. But the question asks you to write between 5. So you need to get your facts correct. Okay? All right, great. So great going. So let's move on to the next question type, which is write an essay. Now this is something that was dreadful for all of you when you were in school, I'm sure, or in college. And this is something that everybody is a little wary of. Oh my God, writing an essay? No, that's not me. I can't write. But believe me, writing essay is not difficult if you have a, what are you supposed to write? If your elements in the essay are in place and you have to put all of it together, it's not going to be difficult. Now you need to understand that essay is something that is inevitable. You are going to get at least one essay. So you can't avoid it. And it is an important part of writing. So since we have to do this, we have no choice, let's go for it. So number of tasks, 1 or 2. Skills assessed writing. So this is not integrated, it is only writing. Enabling skills, quite a lot. Grammar, vocabulary, spelling, written discourse, all this because writing requires grammar. If your grammar is in place, your sentence is correct. If you're using appropriate vocabulary, it's a good essay. If you have used written discourse correctly, which means your transition is right, which means it's a smooth writing. Spellings, obviously people from school days, we have been told, get your spellings right. So here also PTE expects you to get your spellings correct. Type of scoring, partial. So you will get all the scores for everything that you've done right. So points is 15 points. I'll get into how this translates to 15. Prompt length is 2 to 3 sentences. You've given 20 minutes, and 20 minutes is a decent time to write an essay. How much are you expected to write? Between 200 and 300 words. It's not written here, I'm telling you. So you can keep that in mind. Between 200 and 300, of course, the instruction will also clearly have that. So this is how your writing essay looks like. You will have 20 minutes to plan, write, and revise an essay about the topic below. Your response will be judged on how well you develop the position, organize your ideas, present supporting details, and control the elements of standard written English. You should write between 200 to 300 words. So you are given 20 minutes. You have to write between 200 and 300 words. And clearly they tell you that you need to develop a position, organize your ideas, present supporting details, and control. Now, this is something that is going to be common always. So as a student, when you're going to take the test, remember this is something that you should always know, because you've taken enough practice tests, and every practice test is going to have the same instruction. So why I'm telling you this is you don't want to go and read that all over again and waste your time. You know that this is what it is. So you can save time, salvage time, right? Now, this is what is called as your prompt. So education is a critical element of the prosperity of any nation. The more educated the people in a country are, the more successful the nation becomes. Discuss the extent which you agree or disagree with the statement. Support your point of view with the reasons and or examples from your own experience or observations. So this is what is the instruction, this is what is the prompt, and this is the question. So for now, when you are doing this, remember, you just need to take care. What are they asking you about? Education, it being a critical element for the prosperity of the nation. And they're saying the more the educated people are, the more successful the nation is. First of all, you need to take time. You need to manage your time very well. Time management is something that becomes very important because you really need to spend some time to brainstorm. First of all, ask yourself, do I agree? Do I disagree? Sometimes you can do both as well. So if you agree, do I have examples to support? If I disagree, do I have examples to support? So wherever you have examples to support, choose that stand. If you have for both, you can write both, in fact. So word count is given here, so easy. You don't have it will give you as and when you're typing how many words have you written, so you can sort of keep track of the number of words. So now let's go and look at, oops, keeps happening to me. Yeah. So tips of writing an essay. So first of all, make sure that you analyze the essay prompt so you know how to answer. If you do not know what the essay prompt is about, you won't even know what to write. So it is okay, even if you're spending a little happen to understand, because then writing becomes easy. The flow of thoughts has to come, and that would come only if you've understood and analyzed the prompt. Okay, students may be asked to agree or disagree. Okay, now when they say education is a critical part, they're asking you whether you agree or disagree. So keywords, keep track of that. You are expected to agree, disagree about what? Education being the critical element. Or you will be asked to consider how different groups of people, the government and individual or wider community feel about the particular situation. This is another question that they might ask. So for example here, tobacco mainly in the form of cigarettes is one of the most widely used drugs in the world. Over 1 million adults legally smoke tobacco every day. The long-term health costs are high for smokers themselves and for the wider community in terms of healthcare costs and lost productivity. So this is what is a prompt, and they're asking you, do governments have legitimate role to legislate this, legislate to protect citizens from harmful effects of their own decisions to smoke, or are such decisions up to the individual? Now, this is something that you will have to say. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think A, the former is right, or do you think the latter is right? So you really need to take time to think. So your essay might require you to agree or disagree. They might ask you to argue for or against an opinion. They might ask you to answer a question. They might ask you to discuss advantages or disadvantages. So these are the keywords in prompt. Sorry, there's a mistake here. This is not the prompt. This is the instruction. Okay. So look for keywords in the instruction. 20 minutes, 300 words essay, between 200 and 300 words. And when PTE gives you an instruction, if it is between 5 and 75, please make sure you stick to it. They mean business, right? Or when they say 200 to 300, they mean business. It is 200 to 300, which means even if you write 199, you will get a 0. You write 301, you will get a 0. So when instruction is given to you, please take the instruction seriously. You can't say, let me add 2 more words. Yeah, nothing will happen. It's okay. After all, I'm trying to extend my idea. No, you cannot do that. Okay. So topic is about tobacco and smoking. Points of view is wider community, citizens, government, and individuals. And key to cover is health costs, healthcare costs, lost productivity. So when you keep these keywords in mind, your thought process starts to play. And then you can put all those brainstorming, these are the things I would want to discuss. And then you, I mean, at Pearson, not, give you any template, but I will just give you a very rough thing to help you understand how to write an essay. So before that, let's look at the scoring. This is perhaps the only item where so many parameters are there, which is tested in your writing. They look at the content. If the content is perfect, you get a 3. What do you mean by content? Have you, read the prompt, and have you read the question and covered everything that has been asked? If they have asked you to agree and disagree, have you done that? So instruction becomes very, very important. The question becomes have you answered the question asked? Simple. Content is all about that. Formal. Form. What do you mean by form? Form is, if they have said length is between 200 and 300, stick to that. If it is, lesser than that or greater than that, you'll either get a 0 or you probably get 1, if at all. So my suggestion, stick to 200 to 300. Even if it is 201, it is about 200. Okay. Development, structure, and coherence, which means how have you shown the good development logical structure? Meaning, have you started with introduction? Is there a body paragraph? Have you concluded the essay? So logical structure, if it is a smooth flow, if it is a smooth write, some that even the machine which scores your essay, it is fed to see whether there is a smooth flow of your essay. If it is bumpy, chances are that your scores will be less. Grammar, again, Tirumurthy, I think, I had asked, I Tirumurugan or Tirukumar, I'm not sure, I'm not able to recall the name. You had asked about grammar in the previous one. Here also, when we're looking at grammar, we are not, you have a control over your grammar. If you're using complex language, make sure that your grammar is in place. Simple language is acceptable, so don't try to use complex language in order to impress the machine. Remember, you are going to use simple language as long as it is readable and you're able, the machine is able to understand, right? General linguistic range, which means wide range of languages to formulate thoughts. Have you used emphasis? Have you used transition words? Have you written it very clearly without any ambiguity? Like, you are not conflicting yourself, contradicting yourself. You have written everything which has got you formulated your thoughts well. Vocabulary range, yes, we're certainly looking for lexical repertoire, which means, again, don't worry, not looking at very high vocabulary, the choice of word should be correct. Spelling, yes, absolutely, 2 marks go for this. Now, if you look at it, 3 plus 2 is how much? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So overall, it is 15 marks, and that's a lot. Do not miss out on this opportunity of getting these points, because it is not difficult. So how do you do this? Let me quickly take you through the tips. How do you do this? Read the prompts carefully, highlight keywords. That is what will start your thought process. So without this, you will not be able to reach anywhere. So highlight it. So as you're highlighting, your thought process begins. Brainstorm. Brainstorm meaning sit and decide. Do you want to agree? Do you want to disagree? Do I have examples? What am I going to put it? How am I going to justify it? Organize your essay. That is formal format. Remember, introduction, body, conclusion has to be there. And one relevant example at least will make a good essay. Keep your word limit. You will lose marks otherwise. And 20 minutes, you will use it wisely. Now, when you have 20 minutes, remember, it's okay to spend 3 to 5 minutes to brainstorm. So you have about 15 minutes left. So even if you take about 13 minutes to write, you can keep 2 minutes for it. Now, I cannot advocate this is the way you're going to use your time. It is very individual based. Somebody who can think really quickly can start writing soon. Somebody who needs time to think can start writing later. But whatever it is, it's up to you how you're going to use your time wisely. So this is a sample structure. This is not something that, in fact, PTE professors or advocates. This is just to help you understand how you actually, logically make your essay from one level to another. Start off with introduction. That is paraphrase the question. Not question, actually. You must paraphrase the prompt. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Paraphrase the prompt. What has been told. Do not copy, paste, and write exactly what is there in the prompt. The whole idea of paraphrasing is that the machine understands that you've understood the prompt. If you're going to copy paste, it's going to be the same. So paraphrase it, take a stand, agreement or disagreement. You could give an overview that, in the following thing, I'm going to write about examples that I agree with and examples that I do not agree with. And body paragraph, always state your position, give reasons, give an example, justify the relevance of this example with your position or with the topic. Very important. And then conclusion, you could write 2 paragraphs if time permits. I would recommend 2. And then restate it and just write overall. Good idea to end it with summarizing your opinion, because in the end, the question is asking you about your opinion. So end it up with overall, what's your opinion? Okay. I hope you do not have doubts here, because is there anything in the chat box, Sharvanan?
Yeah, we have got a lot of questions here.
A lot of questions. Can you pick up one perhaps, something that is common for most of them? So I'll address this quickly. Be almost done, and then anyway I will be going through the Q&A session.
Yeah, we have received a question from Akshay. In essay, if one type of words are repeated, then this is allowed, or can you use different words?
You can use different words, but if that repeated word is appropriately used, there is no harm. You are not going to be penalized for using the same word. If that is the usage of the word and you're using it again and again, it's completely fine. But if you're going to use another word for it, that's also fine. Akshay, hi, I hope that's answered your question. All right, I would like to move on, and I will come to the end of the session, and then I will address all your queries. So remember, sample essay, I'm just going to take you through a couple of responses, and I want you people to evaluate it. Remember, evaluation is the highest form of intelligence. So if you're able to evaluate it correctly, which means you've understood. So my session has been a very fruitful session if you're able to evaluate. So let's do that. I'm going to take you through this. You have 20 minutes to plan, right? Tobacco, mainly in the form of cigarettes, is one of the most widely used drugs in the world. Over 1 billion adults legally smoke tobacco every day. The long-term health costs are high for smokers themselves and for wider community in terms of healthcare costs and lost productivity. This is the prompt. Now, what are they asking you to do? Do government have a legitimate role to legislate to protect citizens from harmful effects of their own decisions to smoke, or are such decisions up to the individual? So here is something you need to absorb and understand. What are they asking and what are you supposed to do? Keep that in mind when you're brainstorming. Remember, your overall score is a lot of enabling skills and a lot of parameters. You do not want to miss on that. I'm going to take you through a test taker A. Okay, quickly I'm going to read it. Remember, it's 201 words, and I want all of you to put in your chat box what type of essay is this. Is it an A1? Is it a B1? Is it a C1? Tobacco, mainly in the form of cigarettes, is one of the most widely used drugs in the world. Over 1 billion adults legally smoke tobacco every day. Recently, it is not only adults. Full stop. Even the high school students and college students smoke just because they want to know how it feels. It's also not limited to by gender. Lots of women are smokers. Even the old people still smoke as if they do not care about their health. Becomes a smoker is like make someone just care about the good feeling of smoking and makes them to forget the risks they will face in the future. The long-term long-term health costs are high for smokers themselves and for the wider community in terms of healthcare costs and lost productivity. The worst risk that a smoker will face is lung cancer, which can cause death. The governments have legitimate role to legislate to protect citizens from the harmful effects of their own decision to smoke. For example, they make a rule for no smoking area in the street and public place. But it also the decisions of each individual, whether spelling gone, they want to continue their life as a smoker and take all the risk or stop to learn to live healthier. So people, it is one chunk, okay? Remember, don't forget to think of the parameters before you are evaluating it yourself. We don't have a format here. Number of words, perfect, over 200. Whether he has actually answered all the questions that have been asked, you have to tell me. Quickly put it in your chat box. What grade would you give? I'm just looking at simple. Yes.
We have already received a couple of responses. Some of them responded A1, some of them responded B1. The majority is B1, and some of them texted no intro, no body para, conclusion, spelling, bad answer.
Very good.
From PU.
So many of you have evaluated it well. So good, you're thinking, and this is what you should think when you are going to write. Let us look at what it was. It is B1. Okay. The response is a simple essay which gives minimal answer to the question. The argument contains insufficient supporting ideas. The structure is lacking in logic and coherence. There is frequent misuse of grammar and vocabulary. Vocabulary range is limited and inappropriate at times. So B1 is what PTE would give you, right? A1, somebody who has given A1, I would not disagree with you. Your standards are high, which is good, because when you would be writing, you'd be writing much better than that, right? So PT would give you a B1, but if you have scored A1, I wouldn't be disappointed, because your standards are high. So B1 is because this is what PT is given you. So this is what the score would be. So look at why he got a B1. The traits or the parameters. Formal requirement, okay, great, big 2. Full, why? Because 211 words. Content, bad, not so good. Development, not so good. Grammar, okay. General linguist, 1. Vocabulary was bad. Spelling were almost got a 0. Not almost, did get a 0. So total is only 8.8. Now I'll quickly run you through another test taker, which I want you to go through this. Is this test taker B? Okay. Look at this. Outlawing tobacco use would create unprecedented controversy. Billions of people worldwide smoke, whether they are chain smokers or recreational smokers. Also, there are several multi-millionaire dollar cigarette companies that will also suffer many consequences if tobacco use is made illegal. We must also consider the thousands of employees who will be left unemployed if such legislation is made. Unfortunately, it's an industry that makes ridiculous amounts of money for many people, so the likelihood of banning it is minimal. Now, this is the stand that he takes. Nonetheless, look at the word, transition word he has used, okay? How well it has transitioned from one to another. Nonetheless, it's a change that would benefit society in many levels in the long run. Smoking causes so many health causes issues. So if smoking is made illegal, morbidity and mortality, look at the choice of words, rates would be reduced significantly. Quality of time will improve dramatically. Choice of word again, people. And it will allow people to enjoy their life significantly longer. Legislators must also consider, actually this is next paragraph, that he should have left a gap. Shouldn't every individual have the right to choose how they treat their body? He's put a rhetorical question there. The government can argue that these individuals may do as they wish, but then they must also suffer the consequences without government funding. They must take full responsibility of any health issues developed as the result of tobacco use and not expect Medicare or health insurance to cover the costs and all that. In a sense, he gives you the conclusion. Quickly put it in your chat box. How much would you give for test taker B? Words are in place. Your vocabulary is good, format good, discourse markers used. Just look at all the parameters and then quickly. Sharvana, are there any responses?
Yeah, we are getting response. B1, Meha has replied B1, B2, B1, B1, B2, mostly B1.
Okay, B1. I think you people have set very high standards for yourselves, which I'm very, very happy about. In PT, you would get a C1. You know, I don't see the reason why you would have given a B1. Maybe, you know, you feel that that's not enough, but for a PT, that will easily fetch you a C1 because it is clear, well structured, you know, touches upon relevant issues, points of view are given, everything that you want. You know, there were grammar errors. I'm not saying no, but it was there. Spelling is great. Everything that you want is, it's a beautiful essay basically, right? So look at what machine has scored, 13.25. You know, if at all this person has lost, it's in spelling, but otherwise, very good job done, right? So let's quickly go through the poll question before I close this session. So Sharvana, can you please project the poll question? We just have a couple.
Yeah.
We'll quickly do this. What are the enabling skills tested in summarized written text? Grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, oral fluency, grammar and vocabulary. Now people, yeah, okay, you have 5 choices. What are the enabling skills tested in summarized written text? This is not about essay. So quickly go back to what I had taken in the first part of your session. It's about summarized written text. What are the enabling skills tested?
60% of the audience have already responded.
Okay, come on, the remaining 40, I want you to respond. I know you're better than this. You've been an awesome audience or awesome participants. Very interactive. I want you to do this as well. Can I have a look at the poll? Grammar, vocabulary, super. Grammar and vocabulary, people. And people who said pronunciation and oral fluency, people, pronunciation and oral fluency happens only when you're speaking. And this is writing. So naturally, pronunciation and oral fluency is out of the question. It's going to be grammar and vocabulary put together. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next question, Sharvana, please.
Yeah.
How many parameters is the essay writing scored? On how many parameters? So you have 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you have taken down notes, you will get this right. There were a lot of parameters. I just want the number. What are the parameters on which writing is scored? Remember, we had 15 points. And those 15 points had different parameters.
%60 of the audience have responded.
And what are they saying?
So it's a mix.
Ouch. Okay, the heartening part is that at least 37% got it right. Okay, it is 7. And anyway, this wasn't an easy question, so don't get disheartened, because if this is the first session you're ever attending, it's not easy to remember. Okay, so don't worry. It is actually 7. So people who have got it 5 is not wrong. It's just that you missed 2. People who got 6, not wrong again. It's just that you missed 1. And 8 you overshot. Okay, so don't you worry. It's just 7. And the 7 is content development, structure and coherence, form, general linguistic range, grammar usage, vocabulary, and spelling. So not easy to remember, so don't you worry. I just put this question towards the end, hoping that you would get it right, but not to worry at all.
So that's one last question.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, we have one more. If a student writes less than 120 words, will she get any point out of 15? This is for essay people. I mean, this is if a student writes an essay less than 120 words, will she get any point out of 15?
Few more seconds. 60% of the audience have already responded. 65. Yeah. Almost 65% of the audience have responded, and they said no.
Will you get any point? Yes. You won't get any points. Okay, so good. So you just need to remember that this is something that is given right in the instruction, that you have to write between 200 and 300 words. So if the instruction itself is not taken care of, where is the question of the other parameters being considered, right? So you will not get scores. So be careful with that. And I'm going to take a quick recap of what we did just now. We did 2 question types: summarized written text and essay. And summarized written text, each item is 10 minutes, and writing essay is 20 minutes. You could get 2 summarized texts, 1 essay, 3 summarized texts, 1 essay, or 2 summarized texts and 2 essays. It could be any permutation combination. You have partial credit for both. For summarized written text, it is 7 points per item, and for writing, it is 15 per item per essay. Now, the skills measured is writing for both, and for reading also in summarized written text, because you have to read and write. And the enabling skills tested is grammar and vocabulary for summarized written text. Content and form is for your scores. That also will be looked at. And for essay, grammar, vocabulary, spelling, and written discourse are the enabling skills, the scores of which you will get by the end of it. But when you get your scores, the scores will be based on all these parameters, which we spoke about, 7 parameters. Okay, so that is pretty much it. And you also, I think yesterday also it was discussed that you have these preparation pathway which you could use. Pearson it's a huge gold mine of resource. You could get enough material to practice from Pearson site. You have online score practice tests, you have course books, you have preparation courses, you have face-to-face, you have online courses. Everything that you want is available with Princeton. You could get in touch with Sharvana to get more details about this. But before we end this question, I would end the session. I would want to take up a few questions that I could address, and remaining we will do it over the email, most certainly. So Sharvana, are there any common questions that the students or the participants?
We have received hundreds of questions, but with respect to time, we would like to address very few questions. So there is a question from Piyush again. How computer evaluates the content part, as we may hold a different subjective thought process?
Okay, so Piyush, hi. This is one question I think many would have it in their mind. Now, this is something that is done by AI machine. Now, this is actually a very complex topic, but since you've asked, I will run you through it very quickly. That the way this machine is fed into the programming is done, it is not machine alone. Before it was fed into the machine, many human raters had actually graded different essays, and they had ensured that the difference between a human grader and a machine grader is pretty much same, very little difference. So the machine certainly has all these parameters in it, and it is going to check all these parameters, and based on that it would be scored. It is fed very, very carefully. It is as close to machine human rating as it could be. And that's a different topic altogether, but since you've asked, I would just stop here. And I hope that has satisfied your query, Piyush. Anyone else? Is there any? Are there any other questions?
Question from Nitisha. Can you use proverbs or idioms in writing?
Hi, Nitisha. Great question again. Can you use proverbs and idioms? Why not? Because that actually speaks about your, your vocabulary repertoire and your, sense of words that you need to put together. But be careful when you're using idioms and proverbs. Make sure that it is relevant to the topic. You can't just pick and choose and make it impressive by using that. If it is relevant to the topic, why not? It will just embellish your essay. You can do that.
Yeah, we have another question from Nitish. In body paragraph, we have to either agree or disagree, or we have to write both.
Hi, Nitish. Great question again. See, one thing I want you to be careful about is read the instruction. If they have asked you to agree or disagree, do one. But if you want to agree and disagree, one paragraph you could take one side of agree, second paragraph you could take, remember it has to be justified with an example, second paragraph you could disagree, and in the end when you're summarizing it and concluding it, you say overall opinion, what is yours? On one side you agree, but when it comes to another context, you disagree. It's okay to do both.
We have another interesting question from Balvinder. Can we take the national level examples for writing essay, or do we have to take international level examples only? Hello?
That's a beautiful question. Balvinder, that's a beautiful question, because remember this is not a region specific exam, it's an international exam, right? So therefore ideally it would be great if you could use globally visible example, because region specific example would be familiar with only regional people. Suppose they are asking you about poetry, let's say I'm just taking I'm just shooting off the hip, poetry, and then we are talking of William Wordsworth. You can't, because I am from Tamil Nadu, I'm quoting this example, I cannot write about Kanimuri writes poetry. Nobody would know who she is, right? You would choose examples which are globally visible, so that it becomes, very relevant to what you're speaking. I'm not saying that region specific examples are wrong, but it is always good to quote globally visible, globally relevant examples. Thanks, Balvinder, for asking that.
Yeah, there's a question from Rohit. He asked it a couple of times. So many of the tutors should provide template for essays. And can we use it or not? I'm confused. We go with template or not? Yeah, the same question.
Hi,
can
Rohit.
Use template or not for essay rating?
Hi, Rohit. See, at Pearson, we do not advocate or profess because any template, simply because essay is about you, your opinion. So you would want to, write the way you would want to write. However, there is also a format, right? So the machine also looks at whether your format is in place. So you must have an introduction, you must have a body paragraph, and you must have a conclusion. So if this template is there, which I would say that it's a bad idea to by heart the template and write it. You must know that these are the things that must be included, okay? And my personal suggestion for you is that you have your style of writing. You know that this is how I write, so you may create your own template. You create your own template because that mimics closest to your style of writing. So you are not really going by somebody, a tutor who said, tutor who didn't say. You're going by you, right? So you can ask probably your tutor to check it. Is my template right? Can I use it this way? And if he or she approves of it, go ahead. But you don't have to stick to somebody else's. Somebody else cannot thrust a template on you, because this essay is about your opinion, how you would want to write. So, with trial and error, choose your own template and get it approved by an expert, right?
Another question from Akhil. What should be the ideal length of concluding a paragraph?
What is the ideal length of?
Concluding a paragraph.
Now, Akhil, I cannot tell you the ideal line of the paragraph, but I can certainly tell you your whole essay should be between 200 and 300 words. So whatever can fit in that. If your body paragraphs are a larger one and you don't have too much number remaining for your conclusion, obviously your conclusion is going to be short. But if you have made equal number of words for each paragraph, your conclusion also will be that. There is nothing like how many words are expected in a conclusion, but what is certain is that it has to be between 200 and 300 words, your entire essay, right? All right.
Yeah,
Do we
one
have
last
time?
question.
Sure.
One last question. Is it good to write more than one example?
If you're writing two paragraphs and you're writing two examples, why not? Remember, stay within the scope of the topic and also stay within the limit of the number of words. Good idea if you have two examples. Why not? Good.
Yeah, now we have reached the end of the session. With respect to time, we would like to end the session. Thank you everyone to stay connected. We try to respond all your questions. And if some of them still not answered, we'll cover through our social channel or in the upcoming webinars. Please follow us in Facebook, Twitter handle at Pearson IN to stay updated. After the session, you will quickly get a survey. Would request all of you to fill the same so we can improve ourselves in the upcoming sessions. Thanks again. Anything from your side, Lavanya?
Yeah, thank you so much. You people have been an awesome audience, awesome participants, and it was an interactive session, and I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I enjoyed conducting it for you people. And I hope that you have learned a lot, and whatever queries you have, please feel free to ask us. We would be happy to help you. Stay safe, stay calm, and thank you all, and hope to meet you guys very soon. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.